Hi, all of you hot mamas out there. I hope you've had a great week. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Jamie Danielson of Kion Fitness. If you're new to my channel, welcome aboard. On this channel, you can expect to find everything from fitness to exercise tips to lifestyle tips. So you can find everything that you need on one channel. So today you're in for a very special treat. I have someone very special with me. She has been highlighted online in House Beautiful, Apartment Therapy. She is the creative business owner of The Crowned Goat. She has thousands of followers on Instagram. She has a beautiful blog that you want to check out and an awesome website full of fun and exciting tips that you're going to want to explore.
Hey guys.
Without further ado, this is Coco. Coco's going to walk us through something personally that I struggle with all the time since the very beginning. Decorating 101. And how do you go about tackling a redecorating project? So thank you for joining our channel.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
This is going to be a lot of fun and you guys are in for a special treat. So Coco, walk us through, where do we start?
So the very first thing that you would do, I would say, is unless you're doing an entire house, is to narrow it down to one room. So the very first thing that you should do is go out to Pinterest, look at other blogs, shelter magazines, home decor books, and that way you can get sort of a feel for your style. What normally happens is that people like a lot of different things from a lot of different styles, and then they sort of have a hard time trying to narrow it down to what they like best. You don't want a lot of different styles going on in the same room because then it could read as cluttered or messy and not cohesive, especially if you live in a home like most of us live in now, with an open concept. So you want to go out to all of those places first and sort of narrow it down to, I would say, one or two styles that you really like, maybe even three. My personal style is French country, farmhouse. My favorite color is white. And I like sort of things that are like chippy and imperfect and all of that stuff. So there's a common element that runs in between those three styles, even though it's not strictly farmhouse or strictly French country or strictly like English cottage. But so for that reason, I'm able to kind of like run whatever similar thread that has both or those things that I like the best from those three different styles. And most of the time, if you start pulling things that you like from those different elements, you'll find the same thing.
That's what I was just going to ask you. So if you have two totally different styles, which I have a hard time committing to a style, to be honest with you. I like really modern, clean lines, but I also like kind of the relaxed look of like boho chic. So how would I go about finding the common denominator in both things that I really like? Both designs?
That's a great question. So I would get two books that you really like from those things. So maybe a book that has super modern, and then one that's like
the Scandinavian boho.
Scandinavian, that's right. And so I would put those two books side by side, and then after you get the books side by side, or even do a Pinterest board that has like all of those, both of those common elements on it. So just do one Pinterest board that has all of those things, or get two different books that has those two different styles and put them side by side, and then say to yourself, which of these two do I like most?
That's a great idea.
And then look around at your house, and if your house is like, say for example, in like a farmhouse or in the middle of the city or coastal, just speaking from personal experience, I live on an island, and when we first moved out there, I thought everything had to be coastal because I lived on an island. But once we started incorporating, blues and whites and teals, I really realized that like that was not my style, even though I technically live on an island. And so I kind of put all the shells away and developed a style that I liked. And what I liked about the cottage or the coastal style was that it's has a cottage feel to it. And from there, I was able to go. So in your case, with the Scandinavian and the like minimalist and modern sort of style, is that they all have clean lines. They don't have like a lot of stuff. The stuff that they have is like quality pieces. And the other thing is that as soon as you walk into those spaces, even though there's not a lot of quote unquote stuff, is that they make you feel welcome because they have a lot of layers of texture. And if you held the two books up side by side or looked at your Pinterest board that had all of those things, you would recognize those common elements.
Right. I'm so glad that you brought up the whole coastal idea too, because I think that a lot of times what our style is one year isn't really what our style is the next year,
Yes.
or over a 5-year period. We grow as people, so our
Right.
styles tend to change, and with such cute styles constantly coming out,
Right.
it can be really hard to commit to something specific. But I
Right.
like your idea of kind of taking it and molding it and saying, at this moment, these are the these are the elements that I like. So that's a fantastic idea.
And two, like, over time, not only does your style change, your budget probably will change and your family will change. So what you need when you're single or recently married or then have a family of, 3 or 4 kids, is definitely not going to be the same. Where you could literally keep everything white and shelves in place and sea glass all over and that kind of stuff. Like would no longer fit someone that has 3 toddlers running around under the age of 3 and literally like they're just trying to keep the house clean and picked up,
right?
Without like a lot of extra stuff to have to dust.
Right. And budget is a great topic. Is something that I think everybody has to consider, right?
Yes.
You start out with a budget and start out with a plan. So do you have to have a lot of money to tackle one room? How much should one budget?
But I think the budget really depends. Like I've worked with clients that have had millions of dollars, some of them that have had thousands of dollars, and then some of them that are like, I got $100. What can you do to help me transform?
Can I change this room?
Right, exactly. So in that part, you really have to get sort of creative with like the accents that you bring in and the paint finishes that you have. And I always tell people to shop their homes because unless your style is drastically different, say for example, you go from French country to something that's like Southwestern, where it's like a drastically different style, most of the time the pieces of furniture that you have on hand, and even some of the accents and the colors on hand, you'll be able to use in your new space. And that will help you save money for your budget, but also help to make things look layered, because you don't necessarily want to buy everything from the same store, because then it'll look like, you just shopped page 7 at Restoration Hardware, even though I love Restoration Hardware. Take a little bit of things from Restoration Hardware, a little bit of things from an antique mall, a little bit of things from like family heirlooms, and then take the things that you already have at home, and that way you can give yourself more of a layered look instead of like, I just, bought everything from, the same catalog at the same time.
I like that idea too, because usually family heirlooms or you always have a piece that means a lot to you and you're not quite sure what to do with it or where to put it. But using that as a starting point, I think, is a fantastic idea because it does help you save some money.
Right.
But it also helps you find a place for it, right?
Right, exactly. And another thing that you can do is like, if there's something that you really have your heart set on, like if you have your heart set on a piece of art and the piece of art is like, $5,000, $1,000, then you can get something else that's less expensive or more budget friendly, like say sheets from Target, or a rug that you found that's vintage from the antique mall or something like that. And then that way you can sort of stretch your budget in different kind of ways. But really, I would say the best thing for your budget, if you want to get a huge impact right away, the best budget friendly thing that you can do is paint, because you can paint your walls, you can paint your furniture. Those things are super easy to do. And if you can't afford a custom piece of art, then you can always look online. Etsy has a ton of things, like files that you can download. You can go to places like Great Big Canvas, Walls Need Love. I mean, places like that can help you sort of get an impact, but would not impact your budget so much that you felt like you were restrained everywhere else. So the budget just depends on what you need. Now, if you're starting with a brand new room and you don't have anything, it can
going to cost
expensive. Right, exactly.
Right, but you have to start somewhere.
Yes.
Right, you can't just have an empty room.
Right, exactly.